Tonight, we drift through the quiet corners of forgotten maps. Somewhere beneath sand, snow, and sea lie the things we were never meant to find. Crowns that vanished with no war. Books that burned in no fire. Gold that no one ever spent. These are the lost treasures of time. 100 stories still whispering through ruins and waves. So, put on your headphones. Breathe slowly. And let's begin with the first mystery, still waiting in the dark. The Amber Room, once hailed as the 8th wonder of the world, was a chamber lined entirely with gold-backed amber panels, mirrors, and mosaics. Built in the 18th century in Prussia, it shimmered like a honeyed flame. Later, gifted to Peter the Great, it glowed within Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg, until war swept it away. When Nazi forces invaded during World War II, the Amber Room was dismantled, crated, and sent to Königsberg. There, its glow was seen one last time before it vanished completely. Was it destroyed in bombings? Or quietly hidden beneath a Baltic cellar? Some say it was moved by submarine. Others whisper of secret chambers below Polish castles. But still, to this day, not a single panel has been found. Can you imagine walking through forested ruins, your flashlight catching the flicker of fossilized amber under moss? One spark of gold against the cold. That's the dream treasure hunters chase still. Soft winds still murmur through the trees of Kaliningrad, as if they remember that warm, golden light. And maybe, just maybe, so do the walls beneath them. You are now stepping into the dusty red ridges of Arizona's Superstition Mountains. Here, legend breathes slowly through cactus shadows, of a man named Jacob Waltz, known as the Dutchman, who found a secret gold mine deeper than anyone could imagine. He never told a soul its location, not fully. Some claim he left behind a crude map. Others swear he mumbled directions on his deathbed in 1891, under the shadow of the Weeping Rock. Since then, hundreds have searched. Some vanished, some went mad, but most returned empty-handed. And yet, they keep looking. Because gold glimmers differently in dreams, doesn't it? Desert winds still whistle through the canyons, brushing over forgotten trails and sun-bleached skulls. You can almost hear the whisper. It's still there, buried in silence. Maybe it wasn't about the gold. Maybe it was about the keeping of a secret, a treasure not meant to be found, but to be wondered about. So, next time you find yourself beneath a desert moon, squint toward the mountain ridge. The Dutchman's silence might still echo in the rocks, and maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you. Dear listeners, take a slow breath and picture the Nile flowing dark under a moonless sky. In the golden twilight of Egypt's last dynasty, Cleopatra and Mark Antony chose to die on their own terms. But what happened next is a story still hidden beneath the sand. No one has ever found her tomb. Historians believe she was buried with Antony, perhaps near the temple of Taposiris Magna, west of Alexandria. But centuries of earthquakes, tsunamis, and rising waters have swallowed every clue. Imagine an obsidian sarcophagus beneath layers of stone, wrapped in incense-scented linens. Bronze mirrors, golden anklets, ancient scrolls of philosophy and poison. They say her tomb was sealed with a curse, more myth than malice. Still, no one's dared open its secrets. Every few years, a new dig begins. A heartbeat, a gasp, a dead end. But one day, beneath the dust, perhaps her crown still waits in the dark, and if you close your eyes tonight, you might hear the soft rustle of linen, or the whisper of a queen who once ruled both empires and hearts. She is still waiting to be seen again. Hey, friends, adjust your pillow and drift with me onto the warm waters of the Malacca Strait. In 1511, the Portuguese ship Flor de la Mar set sail, heavy with treasures plundered from the Sultanate of Malacca. Gold, gems, royal gifts, enough to buy kingdoms. But the sea was jealous. Caught in a sudden storm off Sumatra's coast, the Flor de la Mar broke apart, its riches swallowed by the waves. For 5 centuries, divers, pirates, and historians have searched the ocean floor. Some claim they've found a piece of hull, others a gilded plate. But the treasure itself vanished. Can you imagine it? A coral-covered chest cracked open by a curious fish. A ruby rolling across white sands where no foot has ever walked. Some believe the ship lies too deep. Others say it's moved with shifting sands, like a dream you almost remember upon waking. But every ripple carries her name, Flor de la Mar, the flower of the sea. And somewhere below she waits in silence, her treasures blooming in darkness. You are right now stepping into legend itself. Stone tablets, fire from the sky. A golden chest that could topple cities. The Ark of the Covenant, once carried by the Israelites through deserts and wars, was said to hold the 10 Commandments given to Moses. But where did it go? Some whisper it lies in a secret Ethiopian chapel, guarded by monks who've never let it be seen. Others believe it was buried beneath Jerusalem, or spirited away during the Babylonian siege. There's even a tale of it being hidden in the tunnels beneath Mount Nebo, its glow waiting like a silent guardian. The Ark, they say, pulsed with divine power, a soundless thunder, a light that could blind. And still today, no one knows. Is it a relic, a metaphor, or a mystery meant to test our faith? Even if it's never found, the idea of it burns in our imagination. A golden box holding the voice of the divine. Maybe the treasure isn't the artifact, but the wonder it awakens. And tonight, as your eyes close, perhaps you'll hear the faint hum of something sacred. Waiting. Hey, friends, feel the salty breeze against your cheek. We're aboard a ship cloaked in fog, fleeing the Spanish coast of Peru. In 1820, as rebellion stirred across South America, Spanish officials attempted to safeguard their wealth by shipping it from Lima. It was a vast treasure, solid gold statues, jeweled goblets, crates of silver, emerald crosses. But the ship's captain, William Thompson, had other plans. He murdered the guards, stole the treasure, and vanished into the Cocos Islands. Search after search has turned up little. Some claim pieces of the hoard were buried in jungle clearings. Others say they're lost to the sea. Hollywood has chased it, pirates obsessed over it, but the real treasure, still missing. Sometimes people still arrive on Cocos Island with shovels and wide eyes, hoping to hear that metallic thunk. A clink that says, yes, it was always real. So if your dream tonight takes you to a fog-shrouded beach, don't be surprised if something sparkles beneath your feet. Dear listeners, drift with me to Dublin Castle in the summer of 1907. A quiet theft, no alarms, no suspects, just silence and disappearance. The Irish crown jewels, including the star and badge of the Order of St. Patrick, were kept in a safe in a tower room. One day they were simply gone. No break-in, no fingerprints, just mystery. Some whispered of high society scandals, others hinted at political plots, but the jewels themselves, never seen again. Could they have been melted, hidden in a noble's vault, or quietly resting in some dusty drawer beneath a mansion floorboard? Every few decades, someone claims to have a lead, a glimpse, a hint, but nothing holds. And so, the jewels that once gleamed on royal robes now shimmer only in stories. Tonight, as the world quiets, you might wonder, who took them? And why? And are they still out there, waiting to shine once more? You are now inside a candlelit Russian palace, snow whispering outside, golden eggs cradled in velvet. The Fabergé eggs, imperial gifts created for the Russian czars, numbered over 50, each hiding tiny wonders inside. A miniature train, a jeweled surprise, a mechanical swan. But after the fall of the Romanovs, some of these eggs disappeared. Today, 8 of them remain missing. Where did they go? Smuggled through secret doors, tucked into foreign estates, sold quietly, then forgotten in attics. Art historians still search auctions, peer into dusty boxes, hoping to glimpse the shimmer of imperial gold. Each egg is a story, a miniature universe, a last echo of a fallen empire. So, as your dreams begin tonight, let them roll like gilded eggs through a palace corridor, and listen for the click of a hidden hinge. Something precious might still be waiting inside. Hey friends, tonight we light a candle in medieval France. The scepter of Dagobert, crafted in the 7th century from gold and filigree, once rested in the Basilica of Saint-Denis. It symbolized divine power. Kings held it. Crowns bowed to it. And then, in 1795, it vanished from the basilica's treasury. Stolen, perhaps, but no trace was ever found. The scepter may lie hidden within a chateau wall, or melted, its form forgotten. But the idea of it, the golden rod of a Frankish king, still stands. And now and then, a collector wonders, could this old cane be more than it seems? That's the magic of treasures lost in time. They might already be in someone's hand, or still waiting in a forgotten corner of France. Dear listeners, close your eyes and let the candlelight flicker over ancient shelves. Ivan the Terrible, Russia's fearsome czar, was said to possess a hidden library, filled with ancient scrolls from Constantinople, Greece, and Rome. Texts of magic, philosophy, secrets long vanished from history. But after his death, the library disappeared. Some believe it lies beneath the Kremlin. Others think it was burned during Moscow's many fires. Still others hope it rests untouched, behind a sealed wall. Scholars have searched tunnels and archives, nothing. But what if it's still there? A room of forgotten wisdom. Dust rising as you open the door. Ancient ink fading in lamplight. Somewhere, a scroll may still wait to be read. A thought waiting to be remembered. And maybe, just maybe, it's closer than we think. Dear listeners, let your thoughts drift to the windswept plains of Mongolia. Genghis Khan, the great unifier of the steppes, the thunder across Eurasia, requested a secret burial. When he died in 1227, his loyal soldiers followed his final wish, that no one ever find his grave. They say they buried him in a hidden valley, then rode horses over the soil to erase all trace. Some stories claim a river was diverted over the site. Others whisper of mass silence, as if the land itself conspired to forget. But still, the pull is strong. Modern archaeologists scan hills with satellites. Locals point to shifting mounds. But the earth holds her silence. And isn't that part of the magic? A warrior who conquered empires but chose eternal obscurity. His story known, but his resting place unknown. So tonight, beneath your blanket, imagine a soft drumbeat in the soil, a whisper in the grass. Somewhere in that great silence, the Khan sleeps still, and perhaps he always will. You are now entering the forge of ancient Japan, where metal sings and legends sharpen themselves into blades. The Honjo Masamune was no ordinary sword. Forged in the 13th century by the great swordsmith Masamune, it symbolized the soul of the samurai. Passed down through shoguns, this blade once glinted beneath ceremonial robes, resting gently against silk. But after World War II, it vanished. Some say it was surrendered to Allied forces and mislabeled. Others believe it was quietly taken overseas, resting now in a collector's vault. No one has seen it since 1945. Imagine its edge, still sharp, still sacred, resting in darkness, waiting for a hand that understands its weight. There's something haunting in the thought. A sword once revered as near divine, lost to silence. And maybe that silence is part of its protection. Tonight, as you drift off, think of the Honjo, not just as a blade, but as a spirit curled in a scabbard, dreaming of cherry blossoms and mountain winds. Still waiting to be held again. Hey friends, take a deep breath and picture a still, sacred lake cradled high in the Andes. Lake Titicaca, mirror of the heavens, home of ancient gods. When the Spanish arrived in Peru, legend says the Incas, fearing conquest, threw their most precious gold into the lake to protect it. Golden discs, jaguar idols, ceremonial masks, all swallowed by the waters. And today, not one has been found. Divers have searched. Sonar scans flicker. Occasionally, a glint, but nothing conclusive. Some locals still believe the lake is alive, that it guards the treasure, that it offers only what it chooses. Isn't that a soothing thought? That some mysteries are protected not by locks, but by reverence. So, if your dreams tonight take you underwater, past reeds and sacred stones, perhaps you'll glimpse a golden eye looking back. But gently now, the lake watches too. You are now in a quiet cave near the Dead Sea, where the wind hums like ancient breath. Among the Dead Sea Scrolls discovered in the 1950s, one stood apart, written not on parchment, but on copper. This copper scroll listed over 60 treasure sites, with gold, silver, and sacred objects buried across ancient Judea. The amounts were staggering, but no treasure has ever been recovered. The scroll is unusually specific, in the cistern beside the ruin on the third terrace, and yet every expedition ends in silence. Was it a coded metaphor, or are the hiding places lost to erosion, earthquakes, and time? Some think the treasures were looted. Others believe they're still out there, entombed beneath olive groves and desert stones. The scroll sits in a museum now, its letters like whispers frozen in metal, and perhaps one day someone will follow its clues and listen closely enough to understand. Until then, its secrets remain folded in silence. Hey friends, soften your gaze and step back into Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. The great golden menorah, 7-branched, sacred, shining, once stood in the Second Temple, casting holy light. But when Rome sacked the city in 70 CE, they took it as a prize. It was paraded through the streets of Rome, etched into the arch of Titus. And then it disappeared. Some say it was hidden beneath the Vatican. Others think it was melted for coin, lost in palace fires, or sealed in secret vaults. But no one knows. A sacred flame turned invisible. Even today, its absence is a presence. It lingers in prayers, paintings, and dreams. Imagine it now, heavy, gold, glowing faintly in a dark chamber, the kind of object that remembers who looked upon it last. And maybe one day the light will return. For now, let your own quiet flame glow as you rest. The menorah sleeps somewhere in the folds of time. Dear listeners, draw your cloak close as we step into medieval shadows. The Knights Templar, warrior monks, guardians of the Holy Land, were rumored to possess immense treasures, relics, gold, and sacred scrolls. But in 1307, the order was dissolved. Many knights were arrested, their wealth never found. Legends abound. Some say the Templars fled to Scotland, burying chests beneath Rosslyn Chapel. Others speak of secret vaults in the Pyrenees, or ships that vanished into Atlantic mists. Treasure hunters still chase their symbols, crosses, cryptic codes, stone circles, but the true treasure might be their legacy, secrecy, brotherhood, and stories that never end. So tonight, let your thoughts wander through stone corridors, past flickering torches and old prayers. Somewhere, the Templars' treasure might still lie in wait, or maybe it already lives in the legend you're holding now. Hey friends, we're now inside a quiet dig site outside Beijing, where the earth once whispered of beginnings. In the 1920s and 30s, archaeologists uncovered fossils of Peking man. Hominid remains over 700,000 years old. They were packed for safe transport during wartime and never seen again. Crates full of precious bones vanished somewhere in China during World War II. Some say they were buried to avoid looting. Others believe they were lost at sea or taken across borders under false names. But no trace has ever surfaced. Imagine the jawbone of an ancestor, the curve of a skull that once looked up at the stars. So small, so vital, so gone. And yet the site still stands, and new bones are found now and then, whispers of the ancient still reaching out. Tonight, as you rest, let yourself drift back, farther than kings and kingdoms, to when we first became human, and wonder what we've forgotten, and what might one day return. You are now stepping into the glow of an Indian summer, where royalty wore light like jewelry. In 1928, the Maharaja of Patiala commissioned Cartier to create a necklace unlike any other. Over 2,900 diamonds, with a 234-carat yellow De Beers diamond at its heart. It shimmered like a second sun, but by the 1950s, it was gone. Pieces have since resurfaced, empty settings, fractured strands. But the central diamond, still missing. Did it vanish during political unrest? Was it sold in secret, cut into smaller stones? We may never know, but there's something quietly powerful about a necklace meant to dazzle emperors now resting in mystery. Maybe the diamond still shines in some forgotten drawer. Or maybe it waits to be found by accident, during spring cleaning or a curious child's play. Until then, the Maharaja's sunlit legacy lies scattered among shadows. Dear listeners, come closer. We're now whispering through alchemical halls, The Emerald Tablet, a mythical green stone inscribed with the secrets of the universe, was once said to be written by Hermes Trismegistus, the philosopher mage. It held the keys to transmutation, cosmic harmony, and the famous line, "As above, so below." But was it real, or a metaphor wrapped in myth? Some claim it was found in Egypt and taken to Alexandria. Others believe it was lost in the library's fires, or hidden in Moorish Spain. Modern alchemists still chase its wisdom through symbols and stardust. And maybe that's the treasure, not a tablet, but a truth. So, tonight, as you fall asleep, imagine tracing the glowing letters on a cool green surface. And ask yourself, what would you transmute if you held the tablet now? Hey friends, let the wind pick up slightly in your mind. It's storm season on the coast of Japan. In the 13th century, Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis, sent a mighty armada to invade Japan. Thousands of ships, countless warriors. But then came the kamikaze, the divine wind. A typhoon struck. The entire fleet was destroyed, swallowed by the sea. The invasion failed. The ships and their armor, weapons, and treasures sank into the ocean's embrace. For centuries, their remains were lost. Only recently have archaeologists begun to find pieces: a barnacle-crusted anchor, a warped bronze helmet. But most of the fleet is still out there, buried beneath sand and seaweed. Imagine that. Entire ghost ships rocking gently on the ocean floor, as if waiting for morning. And tonight, let your thoughts sail across quiet waters. And listen, the waves might still carry the echoes of that lost empire. Hey, friends, if you've been enjoying these calm, forgotten stories, don't forget to subscribe so you can drift even deeper next time. Your journey through history is just beginning. Hey friends, let your eyes soften and drift into the rolling hills of 19th century Virginia. 3 pages, hundreds of numbers, a buried treasure. In 1885, a mysterious pamphlet told the story of Thomas Beale, a traveler who supposedly hid gold, silver, and jewels worth millions beneath the soil of Bedford County. To reveal its location, he left behind 3 coded messages. Only one, describing the treasure's contents, has ever been deciphered. The other 2? Still a mystery. Scholars, hobbyists, and cryptographers have tried for decades. Some bring math, some bring divining rods, but the key eludes them. Was it real, or just a clever hoax wrapped in antique ink? No one knows for sure, but the ground remains untouched in many places, and the numbers still shimmer on yellowed paper. So tonight, if your dreams start filling with symbols and secret codes, just remember, one unlocked cipher could change everything. And maybe that cipher is still waiting for you. You are now walking beneath a desert moon, sand whispering at your feet like ancient breath. Alexander the Great, conqueror of empires, dreamer of worlds, died young, but his name echoed across continents. His body was entombed in a golden sarcophagus, once seen by emperors and poets alike. But over the centuries, his final resting place vanished from history. Some say it lies beneath Alexandria, hidden by earthquakes and flood. Others claim it was moved, sealed beneath sacred ruins. But no one truly knows, and that mystery is somehow fitting. A man who changed history now sleeps beyond its reach. Imagine a tomb with lion carvings and olive leaves, a hush of torchlight on bronze, and above it all, the scent of frankincense. Every few years, a new expedition begins, and always the same quiet question remains. Where is Alexander? Maybe he lies where the stars meet the sand, and maybe he wanted it that way. Dear listeners, step into the green breath of the Amazon, where trees hum with secrets. British explorer Percy Fawcett believed a great civilization once thrived deep within this rainforest. He called it Zed, a city of temples, roads, and wisdom long forgotten. In 1925, he vanished while searching for it. No trace of him or Z has ever been confirmed. But local tales speak of stone ruins swallowed by vines, of ancient pottery beneath tree roots. Could Z have existed? Could it still? Some dismiss it as fantasy. Others feel the jungle hides more than it shows. There's something peaceful in that thought, of a city still resting under leaves and birdsong, untouched. So, if your dreams tonight wander through green corridors, follow the sound of waterfalls. Maybe Z is still out there, waiting to be remembered. You are now floating in candlelit silence beside the shores of ancient Lesbos. Sappho, the lyrical poet whose verses once graced the lips of scholars and lovers, wrote of longing, moonlight, and quiet yearning, but most of her poetry has been lost. Fragments remain. A single line here, a torn phrase there. Some verses have returned, hidden in mummy wrappings or crumbling scrolls. Yet much is still missing. Somewhere, buried in sand or shipwreck, more of her voice might sleep, inked in quiet confidence, waiting to breathe again. Imagine finding a papyrus scrap. You brush it gently, and suddenly, her words speak to you across centuries. Not loud, just enough to feel. And maybe that's what dreams do too. Whisper what history forgets. Let Sappho's lost verses guide your sleep tonight, soft and slow, like poetry. Hey, friends, dim the lights a little more. We're entering the cold tunnels beneath Polish mountains. During the final days of World War II, rumors began. A heavily guarded Nazi train, filled with gold, jewels, and stolen art, vanished into a tunnel system near Wałbrzych. Then, silence. For decades, no evidence, just maps, whispers, and radar blips. In recent years, interest surged again. Crews scanned hillsides. Holes were dug. The scent of old rail tracks returned. But the train, still missing. Some say it never existed. Others think it's buried too deep to find. But the legend lingers, like steam on frozen glass. Close your eyes and picture a rusted train beneath layers of stone. Cold, still, and glittering quietly. It may never be found, or maybe the mountain is still holding its breath. Dear listeners, let your thoughts wander to ancient Rome, where fate was written in riddles. The Sibylline books were a collection of prophetic scrolls, kept locked beneath the temple of Jupiter. Consulted only in times of crisis, they held cryptic wisdom meant to guide the empire. But in 83 BCE they burned in a fire. Roman leaders scrambled to recover fragments from across the Mediterranean. A new set was rebuilt, only to vanish centuries later. Some say a few pages still exist, hidden in private archives or monastery vaults. Imagine a scroll unfurling. The ink faded, but its meaning still sharp. Lines that read like dreams. Futures sealed in metaphor. And maybe that wisdom isn't lost, Maybe it's just waiting for the right moment to be read again, like a whisper through marble halls. You are now entering a sleepy hilltop village in southern France. The breeze is sweet with lavender. In the late 1800s, a humble priest named Béranger Saunière suddenly became mysteriously wealthy. He renovated the church, built strange structures, decorated with curious symbols. Locals whispered he found something, a buried treasure, ancient documents, a link to the Holy Grail. No one knows. After his death, secrets remained sealed. Visitors still wander the gardens, following cryptic signs, hoping to feel the hum of something buried. Whether it was treasure or tale, the mystery lives on. And tonight, maybe your dreams will carry you through that chapel door and let you peek beneath the floorboards. Just softly, of course. Hey, friends, step gently into the sands of Saqqara, where innovation once met eternity. Imhotep, architect of the first pyramid, priest, healer, and sage, was later deified. A mortal made God, yet his tomb has never been found. Others from his time rest nearby, but his burial site vanished. Egyptologists search still, beneath step pyramids, near hidden shafts, even below layers of collapsed temples. Some believe he was buried apart to protect his secrets. Imagine his sarcophagus, carved with stars and spells, hidden in a chamber cool and silent. A place where stone still remembers genius. And maybe, if it's ever found, it won't just be bones inside, but blueprints of forgotten wonders. For now, let that mystery rest with you like cool linen. You are now descending into the copper hills of the Congo, where minerals glow under soft soil. The jewel of Musinoi was said to be a flawless, sky-colored gemstone, the size of a man's fist, discovered in a remote mine decades ago. And then, gone. No photos, no confirmed buyers, just stories passed from miner to miner. Some say it was smuggled out and now sits in a royal collection. Others believe it was split into smaller stones and lost its identity. But deep down, perhaps it still exists whole, hidden in a private safe or nestled among river rocks. Isn't it a soothing thought that something so beautiful might still be untouched by greed? And maybe it's meant to stay that way, at least for now. Dear listeners, take a final breath as we slip into mythology's edge. Plato told of Gyges, a shepherd who discovered a ring that made him invisible. With it, he entered palaces unseen, shifted power, and changed fate. Was it a parable? Or could such an artifact have roots in ancient technology, lost to time? Some trace it to Lydian tombs, others to stories older than writing. A ring that hides the wearer, silently, perfectly. Its whereabouts, of course, are unknown, but the legend lingers in every tale of cloaks and shadows. And tonight, if your fingers close around a dream, maybe you'll feel something smooth, cool, weightless, and wonder what you'd do if you wore it. Would you vanish, or become more visible than ever? Hey, friends, close your eyes and imagine the chill of a Central Asian morning. Dew glinting on the hills of ancient Afghanistan. In 1978, archaeologists unearthed 6 tombs at Tilla Tepe, the Golden Hill. Inside, they found over 20,000 gold objects, crowns, coins, jewelry, belonging to a forgotten Bactrian princess and her entourage. Then war came. The treasure was quietly packed away, and for years, it disappeared. Some feared it was looted. Others said it was destroyed. but whispers of hidden vaults persisted. Then, decades later, it resurfaced, in Kabul's presidential palace basement, intact. But not all of it. Several pieces are still missing, melted, stolen, or hidden by a careful hand. Isn't that fascinating? That even a rediscovered treasure might still have parts sleeping elsewhere. Tonight, dream of golden earrings shaped like moons, and tiny lions frozen in amber. Not everything lost stays lost, but not everything found is whole. You are now riding through the South African veldt, the wind in your hair and dust swirling at your heels. As the Second Anglo-Boer War unfolded, President Paul Kruger fled toward exile, possibly with a fortune in gold. Legend says Kruger's treasure, coins, bars, and antique currency, was buried or hidden as he escaped. Some say it lies in the mountains near Leidenburg. Others believe it's at the bottom of a river, sunk beneath oxen carts. Treasure hunters still comb the landscape, but nothing definite has ever surfaced. Imagine a wooden crate cracking open after decades, revealing rows of gold coins glinting in the sun. But maybe the real weight of the story isn't the gold, but the idea that it was hidden to keep a dream alive. And dreams, as we know, can hide for a very long time. Dear listeners, step into the candlelit hush of a medieval chapel in Belgium. The Ghent altarpiece, painted in the 15th century by the Van Eyck brothers, is one of the most stolen, copied, and coveted works in art history. But one of its panels is still missing. Known as the Just Judges, it was stolen in 1934 from St. Bavo's Cathedral. Despite endless investigations, no one has ever recovered it. There have been ransom notes, deathbed confessions, imitation panels placed in its place. But the original? Gone. Perhaps it was destroyed, or hidden in a wall, or quietly sold and now hanging above someone's fireplace, unrecognized. Imagine a serene painting collecting dust in an attic, quietly holding its breath. What do you do with a masterpiece no one can know you have? Tonight, imagine that panel in perfect silence. And maybe, in your dream, you'll be the one who sees it again. Hey, friends, drift with me into the Tower of London, where whispers linger in stone. In 1649, during the English Civil War, King Charles III was executed and the monarchy abolished. Parliament ordered the royal crown jewels melted down and sold. Most were destroyed, but not all. A few pieces were smuggled out: rings, orbs, fragments of crowns. And some may still survive, hidden in noble estates or family trunks. One legend says a sapphire from Edward the Confessor's crown lies beneath a floorboard in a rural chapel. Another whispers of a hidden tiara in a soldier's heirloom chest. Imagine polishing an old relic and suddenly realizing you're holding history, and maybe, just maybe, it was never truly lost. Only waiting for someone who would recognize its glow. You are now stepping back to the desert caves of Qumran, where silence holds its breath. We return to the Copper Scroll, not just a list of treasure, but a story told in metal. Unlike the other Dead Sea Scrolls, spiritual, poetic, mysterious, this one names places, gives weights, counts ingots. It says the items were hidden during a time of crisis, perhaps during the Roman siege. But none of the locations match known sites today. Maybe they used different landmarks. Maybe they encrypted more than just numbers. Or perhaps the treasures have been found quietly, piece by piece, by those who knew where to look. Still, many believe they're untouched, sleeping beneath fig groves, caves, or cisterns. Isn't it strange? that someone once documented a treasure so carefully, only for it to vanish again? Like a whispered promise to the future, maybe tonight, those numbers will float through your dreams, quietly waiting. Dear listeners, we now find ourselves in a smoky battlefield, centuries behind the Crusades. The Holy Lance, believed to be the spear that pierced Christ's side, was said to have been discovered in Antioch during the First Crusade in 1098. It turned the tide of battle, inspired armies, became legend. But its origin was contested. Some believed it divine, others a planted relic. It was taken to Constantinople, then vanished. Today, several churches claim to have pieces of it, but no one knows if any are real. Could the original lie hidden in a monastery vault? Or quietly resting in the soil of Turkey, a relic of both belief and war? Tonight, think not of blood, but of the silence a sacred object leaves behind, and how faith sometimes glows brightest in mystery. Hey friends, dim the lights a bit more. We're about to unroll a mystery. In 1513, Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis drew a world map that baffled future historians. It showed parts of the Americas, Africa, and, most controversially, what looked like Antarctica without ice. Only a fragment survives, the rest missing. Some claim it was destroyed. Others say it's locked away in private hands. But the real question is, how did he know what he knew? Piri Reis wrote that he used ancient sources, lost maps from even earlier sailors. Could those sources still be out there, rolled into dusty tubes, waiting to reveal coastlines we've forgotten? Tonight, picture yourself in an ancient library, candlelight flickering across faded ink, and imagine laying your hands on a map that changes everything. You are now in a quiet Florentine studio. The smell of oil and varnish still lingers. Leonardo da Vinci painted fewer than 20 confirmed works, but records show many more. A portrait of Isabella d'Este, a painting of Leda and the Swan, a mysterious battle of Anghiari. They're all gone. Some may have decayed, others painted over. Some, perhaps, hidden in private halls, unrecognized, unsigned, waiting. Imagine discovering a centuries-old canvas, the brushwork whispering Da Vinci's hand. A gentle smile, a shadow too perfect. Art historians still scan beneath layers with X-rays, hoping. And maybe tonight, your dreams will peel back time, like varnish from a forgotten frame. Dear listeners, let your mind wander into myth itself, where gold glows beneath legend. Spanish explorers in the 16th century believed there were 7 golden cities, Cibola, hidden across the American Southwest. They searched deserts, climbed cliffs, but found only villages of mud and stone. Were the cities exaggerated tales? Or did they once exist, plundered and lost? Some think ruins remain. Others believe they were never physical places, but spiritual metaphors. Yet, something lingers in the story. Sunlight on canyon walls, echoes in empty pueblos, that feeling of being close. And maybe the real gold was in the journey. Tonight, let your dream wander with a canteen and a dusty map. Somewhere, 7 cities are still waiting in your imagination. Hey friends, we now return to the hush of relics and empire. The Spear of Destiny, also called the Holy Lance, has long been said to bring victory to whoever possesses it. It pierced Christ's side, then passed through emperors, crusaders, and conquerors. Several spears claim to be the one. One lies in Vienna, another in Armenia, but none are definitively proven, and one may be missing. Some say it was hidden during the fall of the Third Reich. Others believe it lies in an Alpine vault. But perhaps the real mystery isn't the spear, but the stories we wrap around it. A rod of iron turned into symbol, into myth, into power. Tonight, rest easy, knowing that not every weapon brings war. Some are meant only to make us wonder. Hey friends, let your thoughts drift over snowy rooftops and echo through onion-domed cathedrals. In 1812, as Napoleon's army approached Moscow, church bells were removed from towers to prevent them from being melted down by invaders. Some were hidden and never recovered. Crafted centuries earlier, these massive bells were cast with prayers, poems, and saints' names. Some weighed more than elephants. Their voices could ripple across rivers and rise above snowfall. After the war, a few returned, but many did not. They may lie beneath gardens, under ruined chapels, or deep in forgotten crypts. Silent, still. Imagine standing in a forest clearing, brushing away moss, and touching cool bronze that once rang over a city's heart. Perhaps one day their sound will return. Until then, Moscow sleeps without a few of its sacred notes. You are now deep beneath a Finnish temple hill, lantern flickering across smooth stone. According to legend, the Lemminkainen hoard lies sealed behind an enormous granite slab, guarded by time, water, and ancient spells. Named after a character in the Finnish Kalevala epic, the hoard is said to contain thousands of artifacts, jewels, scrolls, and sacred objects. Each summer, volunteers gather to dig beneath the temple of Lemminkainen. Every year, the stone holds firm. Some call it myth, others believe they're inches away. Imagine standing before a sealed wall, knowing behind it rests a treasure of forgotten rituals, bronze crowns, and old songs. Sometimes the hoard feels more like a promise than a place. And maybe that's enough for now. Dear listeners, you are now walking through the ashes of Herculaneum. In 79 CE, Mount Vesuvius erupted, covering the Roman seaside town in ash and stone. Beneath it lay the Villa of the Papyri, a luxurious estate with marble halls and a library of ancient scrolls. Many scrolls were discovered, carbonized and curled like sleeping snakes, but deep chambers remain unexcavated. Hundreds, possibly thousands of texts may still rest there, works of philosophy, lost plays, forgotten histories. Scientists today use infrared and X-ray to read even unopened scrolls. But time moves slowly here. Imagine holding a book no one has touched for 2,000 years, the scent of stone, the ghost of ink. And maybe, one day, the rest of that library will open its pages to us. Until then, it dreams beneath the ash. Hey, friends, drift below the waves now, into the bay of ancient Alexandria. Cleopatra's palace once stood on the island of Antyrhodos, filled with colonnades, gold statues, and marble floors. After centuries of earthquakes and tsunamis, it sank beneath the sea. Today, divers explore fragments, a sphinx here, a column there, but most of it lies untouched beneath sand and coral. Some believe her tomb is there too, along with scrolls, mosaics, and thrones etched with lotus blooms. The sea has become her vault. Imagine swimming through clear water, sunlight catching the eye of a statue. That stillness, that silence. Beneath the waves, history waits, patient as the tide. You are now walking the shimmering deserts of Saudi Arabia, where wind sweeps over stone like soft fabric. According to a mysterious and disputed tale, a sacred object called the Ark of Gabriel was uncovered beneath the Grand Mosque in Mecca during the routine construction. Some accounts speak of intense energy, strange instructions, and its quiet relocation to Antarctica. But the truth? Unknown. Is it real? A modern myth? A misunderstanding of something far older? The Ark of Gabriel remains one of the more enigmatic, lost treasures, shrouded in religious secrecy and speculative whispers. Perhaps it was never physical. Perhaps it was an idea, sealed not in stone, but in silence. And tonight, you can let that mystery rest beside you like a sleeping lion. Still powerful, still unknown. Dear listeners, we now travel to Iraq, where the great Mosque of Samarra once stood proud with its spiraling minaret. In the 9th century, tales began of a treasure buried beneath the mosque by the Abbasid caliphs. Coins, jewelry, and perhaps even early texts. The mosque was partly destroyed over time, but the spiral tower still stands, like a sand-colored corkscrew into the sky. Modern conflict has delayed proper excavation, and so the treasure, if it exists, remains untouched. Picture it, a clay pot sealed with wax, coins clinking softly when shifted, a scroll wrapped in silk, still dry. Maybe the real treasure is the story, a spiral rising skyward, while secrets sleep below. And maybe they'll wake when it's safe. Hey friends, take a quiet stroll into the Texas twilight, where shadows stretch across adobe walls. In 1836, during the famous Battle of the Alamo, rumors swirled that Mexican forces under Santa Anna seized, or overlooked, a cache of gold hidden by the defenders. Some say the treasure was buried beforehand by the rebels. Others believe it was smuggled away as the final battle raged. Nothing has ever been found. Locals have searched courtyards, cisterns, and old wells. Imagine finding a rusted box buried beneath flagstone, lifting the lid, seeing coins no one's touched in 200 years, and then gently closing it again. Some treasures don't need to be disturbed. They just need to be remembered. You are now gliding through flickering candlelight and wood-paneled corridors. We've visited the lost amber room before, but some believe a second version was secretly created. A twin room, a replica, a backup crafted by the Soviets or the Nazis just before the original was lost. Theories abound. A copy hidden in Siberia or in a Baltic vault, waiting to be unveiled. But no photographs confirm it, no official documents, just the idea that a shimmering double might still exist. Imagine opening a cellar door and stepping into amber light. Gold and honey pouring over the walls. Maybe it's not a twin. Maybe it's the real one, still dreaming behind locked doors. Dear listeners, adjust your blanket. This one comes from legend's softest edges. King Solomon, they say, wore a ring with a seal that gave him command over spirits, languages, and even the winds. It was inscribed with sacred names, and when lost, it vanished into myth. Some stories say it lies at the bottom of the sea. Others claim it reappears throughout history, briefly, then vanishes again. The Seal of Solomon inspired alchemists, mystics, and monarchs for centuries. What would it be like to wear such a thing? To understand whispers in the trees, to feel the gravity of wisdom in your hand. Tonight, maybe your dream will be just that. A seal, a symbol, a story whispered to the stars. Hey, friends, for our final tale tonight, breathe in the frost of polar air. Crisp, ancient, and quiet. In the mid-19th century, the HMS Erebus and HMS Terror set out to find the Northwest Passage. They vanished into Arctic ice, crews lost, journals frozen, ships swallowed by snow and silence. Over 150 years passed. Then Erebus was found. Then Terror. But not everything. One ship may still drift below the surface, entombed in ice, perfectly preserved. Cabins still holding boots, notes, maybe even untouched crates of supplies sealed in cold darkness. Imagine peering through frozen glass and seeing a teacup still upright on the table. Time stops in the Arctic, and so do stories. Tonight, as the wind hushes around your window, let yourself float gently, like a ghost ship under moonlight. Still waiting, still dreaming. Hey friends, dim the lights and take a step into the jungles of Central America, where rain taps on leaves like ancient drums. In the 1950s, a photograph surfaced, a colossal stone head with fine, delicate features, long nose, closed lips, eyes cast upward. It didn't resemble the traditional Maya style. Then the head vanished. Some believe it was destroyed by rebels. Others think it was buried again by the jungle. Its existence was never confirmed by archaeologists, and no one has since found the exact site. Was it real, a sculpture by a lost civilization, or a misremembered echo? Imagine brushing away vines and seeing a serene face emerge from the green, eyes watching you with timeless patience. And then, nothing more. Some faces, like dreams, only visit once. Dear listeners, light your candle and descend into a chamber beneath a quiet English crossroads. In 1742, workmen in Royston, England, discovered a strange cave beneath the market square, carved with cryptic figures, crosses, and scenes no one could fully explain. Some believe it was used by the Knights Templar. Others say it was a secret chapel, a ritual chamber, or a hiding place for treasure. But if anything was hidden there, it's long gone, or still sleeping in the stone. The cave's carvings remain, but no one knows who made them, or why. Could something still lie behind one of those walls, or beneath the floor? Tonight, picture running your fingers over carved limestone, cool, smooth, mysterious, and listen, the silence might answer. Hey friends, drift into warm Caribbean waters, where sunlight dances through turquoise depths. In 1715, a fleet of Spanish galleons loaded with New World treasure set sail toward Europe. A hurricane struck. 11 ships sank off the coast of Florida. Gold coins, silver bars, emerald crosses, all scattered across coral and sand. Over the years, some wrecks have been found, some treasures recovered, but not all. Many ships are still missing, buried beneath shifting sands, trapped in reef hollows, resting in perfect stillness. Imagine swimming through blue quiet and seeing a cannon, a golden plate, a locket with someone's face still inside, a treasure not just of wealth, but of time, and maybe, just maybe, still waiting for your shadow to pass overhead. You are now beneath a German twilight sky, stars just beginning to glow through the mist. In 1999, a curious bronze disk was discovered near Nebra, Germany. Embedded with gold symbols of the sun, moon, and stars, it's considered the oldest known star map. But some believe it was once part of a larger set, a celestial toolkit, a trio of artifacts used for ritual or cosmic reckoning. If that's true, where are the others? Lost in fields, still buried near the Elbe River, hidden beneath farms, touched only by roots? Imagine holding a cold metal disc and feeling constellations etched beneath your fingertips. Maybe tonight, the stars will whisper their own version of the map and guide you gently into sleep. Dear listeners, come quietly into an ancient tomb in China's Chu Kingdom. In 1965, archaeologists unearthed the sword of Gujian, over 2,000 years old, yet perfectly untarnished, sharp enough to cut paper. Its craftsmanship baffled scientists. But rumors persist. There was a second sword, a twin, perhaps forged together, one buried, one lost. No record confirms its existence, but legends linger. If it exists, it might rest in another tomb, or a forgotten shrine. Or perhaps it was gifted across borders and renamed. Picture it now, a blade sleeping beneath lacquered wood, waiting. And if it's never found, it still lives in the stories that glint like polished bronze. Hey friends, tonight we revisit an old friend. We've spoken of Sappho's lost poems, but what of her music? Her verses were once sung, plucked on lyres, echoing in stone amphitheaters. Melodies now forgotten. Only scraps remain of the scales, the rhythms, the dances. Some believe ancient musical notation could still rest in scrolls buried beneath Mediterranean ruins. Others think oral tradition carried fragments to distant lands, but the full songs, still silent. Imagine hearing her voice once more, not in words, but in rising tones and falling pauses, a melody shaped by longing. Tonight, let that imagined tune hum softly in your heart. It's possible. It was always there. You are now gazing into a curious shape, a 12-sided bronze object with no clear purpose. Over 100 Roman dodecahedrons have been found across Europe. No inscriptions, no records. Some are small enough to fit in your palm. Each face has a hole, varying sizes, ringed with knobs. Were they for measuring? Candle holders, religious artifacts, children's toys? No one knows. Some were found in graves, others in fields, but none came with instructions. Isn't that strangely comforting? An ancient object that asks nothing of you, except wonder. Tonight, close your hand and imagine holding one. Feel the weight, the balance, the silence. Sometimes mystery is enough. Dear listeners, now we tread soft through medieval England, where a crown war once echoed between Matilda and Stephen. Empress Matilda, daughter of King Henry I, wore a legendary collection of jewels, sapphires, garnets, and golden relics passed from mother to daughter. When civil war erupted, her treasury vanished. Some say it was hidden by loyal knights. Others claim it was buried in an abbey or lost on a river crossing during her escape. No jewels confirmed to be hers have surfaced. And yet, in antique shops and castle vaults, experts sometimes pause, look twice. Could this ring have been hers? Could this pendant once have rested near her heart? Tonight, imagine her slipping a gem into a velvet pouch and sealing it shut with a kiss. Still waiting, still glowing. Hey friends, close your eyes and feel the breeze off a distant Japanese cliffside. Legend tells of a scroll kept by a 13th century monk chronicling the great kamikaze, the divine typhoon that destroyed Kublai Khan's invading fleet. It was said to contain prayers, sky maps, and symbols predicting the storm. The scroll was passed in secret, hidden during times of conflict. And then, like the wind itself, it vanished. Some believe it rests in a private shrine. Others think it was burned, its power released. But even without the scroll, the story lives on. A wind that saved a nation, a prophecy rolled in paper. Tonight, if the breeze through your window feels different, wiser, older, maybe it's just the divine wind passing through again. You are now standing on the baked earth of Mesopotamia, where language was first pressed into clay. The Epic of Gilgamesh is the world's oldest known story, but it's incomplete. Tablets were shattered, lines lost, entire scenes missing, especially a rumored chapter where Gilgamesh meets a forgotten god beneath the earth. In 2015, new fragments were found in Iraq, but one tablet remains only a whisper. Some think it lies in a looted collection. Others believe it was destroyed, or perhaps never yet uncovered. Can you imagine reading the world's oldest bedtime story, complete, whole, ending with a whisper of peace? Tonight, sleep knowing that somewhere an old god still waits to finish the tale, and you might be the next to hear it. Hey friends, take a quiet stroll through the ancient dust of Mohenjo-Daro, where brick walls whisper of forgotten civilizations. Among the artifacts from the Indus Valley, thousands of small stone seals have been unearthed, etched with animals, symbols, and an unknown script. They were used to stamp identity and story into clay. But some were never found. One seal in particular, according to early records, showed a mythical creature with 3 heads and a symbol scholars still cannot translate. Then gone. It may have been misplaced in excavation, lost in transit, or perhaps still lies buried beneath untouched layers of earth. Imagine discovering it today. Brushing dirt aside, revealing delicate lines carved by a steady hand over 4,000 years ago. A symbol no one alive can read, but everyone can feel. Some mysteries aren't puzzles, they're poetry. Dear listeners, come softly into Vatican lore. According to tradition, the sword used to cut the ear of a Roman soldier during Jesus' arrest was kept for centuries. Some say it was passed from apostle to church, hidden during times of persecution. By the Middle Ages, it was said to lie within one of the Vatican's vaults. But then, silence. No inventory lists, no official mention, no recovery. Could it still be tucked behind a sealed chamber wall? Or was it taken during wars, carried far from Rome? Imagine finding a simple iron blade, worn smooth, sacred not by wealth, but by the moment it once knew. Sometimes the smallest objects carry the greatest stories, and this one may still be waiting. Hey friends, dim the lights and walk with me through a tomb filled with silence and stone. In ancient China, elite royals of the Han Dynasty were buried in suits made from pieces of jade, stitched together with gold, silver, or silk. Most have been found in fragments, but one prince's suit, spoken of in records, remains missing. It was said to shine with pale green under torchlight, 1,000 tiles, hours of handwork, a cocoon for the afterlife. Some believe it lies in an unexcavated tomb near Nanyang. Others think it was robbed and scattered. But no one knows for sure. Picture a chamber, undisturbed for 2 millennia. The air heavy with age. the jade glimmering like moss-covered ice. What does a soul wear when it walks through dreams? Perhaps jade. You are now seated beside a forgotten synagogue, its stones half buried in desert wind. When Babylon's Jewish population fled or vanished centuries ago, many of their sacred scrolls were taken, hidden, or lost. One Torah, written on deerskin, was said to hold not only scripture but ancient commentary, lines whispered from exile. Scholars believe it was last seen in the 11th century. Since then, silence. Some say it was buried to protect it. Others believe it was smuggled to Persia, then to Spain, then nowhere. Imagine unrolling it gently. Letters faded like evening stars. Ink holding echoes of exile and hope. Some words never stop speaking, even when we stop hearing them. Maybe they're still being whispered under sand. Hey friends, let's climb slowly into the clouds of Peru, where peaks touch the sky and time breathes slow. High in the Andes, the Inca performed sacred rituals, offering children, called capacocha, to the gods in carefully prepared burials. Some mummies have been discovered, perfectly preserved in ice, still wrapped in feathers and wool. But others are still up there, covered by snow, hidden in stone hollows, waiting beneath avalanches that no one dares to cross. Imagine kneeling at sunrise, the wind humming prayers around you and uncovering a tiny, peaceful face frozen in time. Not forgotten, just still dreaming. In the mountains, sleep is holy. Dear listeners, step gently into Arthurian twilight. The Sangreal, also known as the Holy Grail, has long been sought. But according to lesser-known legends, it wasn't alone. A treasury was said to accompany it. Golden books, ancient tools, and a strange faceted stone that shimmered with inner light. Some say this trove was hidden beneath Glastonbury, or carried into the Pyrenees by monks. No maps, just whispers. Imagine walking through mist and suddenly finding a cave, glowing faintly. Not gold, but grace. A treasure not of wealth, but of wisdom. And perhaps that's the only kind worth losing and finding again. Hey friends, come down to southern India, where a temple glitters with divine history. Padmanabhaswamy Temple in Kerala revealed enormous treasure in 2011. Gold, jewels, and ceremonial objects worth billions. But one vault, Vault B, remains unopened. Guarded by lore and legal debate, it's said to be sealed by divine serpent energy. Protected by cosmic warning. Some believe it contains ancient scrolls. Others say it's empty, or holds an object too sacred for light. What do you think? Imagine a chamber filled not with gold, but silence so dense it hums. And maybe behind that final door is nothing at all. Just the breath of time, perfectly still. You are now standing near the Tigris River, where the city of Ctesiphon once thrived, capital of the Sasanian Empire. It held a library, a great one, with scrolls of Persian wisdom, astronomy, medicine, and poetry. When the city fell, the library vanished. Some say it was burned. Others believe it was hidden during the siege. No scrolls have surfaced, no fragments, but the arches still stand. And somewhere beneath brick and soil, perhaps a vault remains, books curled like sleeping cats, ink still dreaming on parchment. Sometimes silence is just unread text, and maybe it's waiting to be opened. Hey friends, you may know the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek computer found in a shipwreck near a quiet island. But fewer know that fragments of it are still missing. The original device was found in 1901, broken and corroded. It predicted eclipses, movements of planets. Yet divers' records suggest more pieces were seen, never retrieved. Wheels, gears, plates of bronze, now buried deeper in the seabed. Imagine recovering a final cog, a missing gear. Suddenly, the machine whirs softly, for the first time in 2,000 years. And just like that, the sky becomes readable again. Maybe it's already turning somewhere underwater. Dear listeners, for our 70th whisper tonight, come aboard the Wind of the North. Harold Hardrada, warrior, poet, king, was said to be buried in a ship. Some say it sailed aflame into the sea. Others believe it was placed beneath a mound, sword beside him, crown resting at his feet. But no burial site has ever been confirmed, nor has the boat. Could it lie beneath a Norwegian hill, undisturbed by even roots, or beneath lake silt, still intact? A picture polished wood and dragon carvings, armor folded beside fur-lined boots. A ship not lost, just anchored in time, and the waves still wait. Hey friends, take a moment and roll out a stone scroll under your feet, because this treasure was once walked upon. In the ancient town of Madaba, Jordan, a 6th century mosaic map was discovered beneath a church floor. It depicted Jerusalem, the Holy Land, and lost biblical sites. But parts were missing, tiles chipped, sections faded, scenes incomplete. Scholars believe the original stretched farther, perhaps even showing the location of Solomon's temple or the ark itself. Some sections might still lie beneath nearby ruins, covered by dust and centuries of silence. Imagine kneeling and brushing away sand, revealing glowing pieces of red, blue, and gold, an ancient GPS system in stone. A map meant not just to guide feet, but faith. And maybe, one day, it will show us where belief once stood in marble. Dear listeners, take a quiet breath and follow a night into mist. In the 14th century, Lithuania was the last pagan kingdom in Europe. Its rulers, caught between faiths and wars, possessed a sacred relic, a golden lance said to strike truth into darkness. After Christianization, the lance was lost. Some believe it was taken to a hidden sanctuary in the forests. Others say it was broken and buried in a monastery cellar. But no trace has surfaced. Could it still lie beneath a tree stump? Or wait, perfectly preserved, behind stone in a ruined castle? Imagine holding it, light as air, heavy with legend. Not every weapon cuts. Some simply remind us where we come from. Hey friends, now we float across open ocean. No compass, no clock. Just stars, waves, and memory. Polynesian wayfinders navigated thousands of miles across the Pacific using star charts. But these weren't written on paper. They were woven in the mind, or carved from sticks and shells. One such chart, passed through generations, was lost in the early 19th century. Its last keeper died before passing it on. Some fragments survive in museums, but the full star system, forgotten. Still, you can almost feel it in the water's rhythm, in the arc of the moon, in the wind's slight turn. Maybe the chart isn't lost. Maybe it's still out there, etched in sky and sea, waiting for someone who listens like the ancients did. Like you. You are now stepping into the smoky light of an ancient Greek workshop. Archimedes, the famed mathematician, is said to have designed a weapon using mirrors to set enemy ships ablaze with concentrated sunlight. A scroll describing the mechanism may have existed, recorded by students, stored in the Great Library of Alexandria. But if it did, it vanished in the flames. Some fragments, scorched and overwritten by monks, have resurfaced, but not the one about the mirror. Imagine holding a fragile piece of papyrus, golden letters still shimmering faintly, the diagram of a weapon made of nothing but light. Not to destroy, but to remind us what the human mind can reflect. Perhaps its brilliance was always meant to be rediscovered slowly. Hey friends, curl up under the stars and listen to a forgotten scientist. Al-Biruni, an 11th century polymath, wrote a lapidary, a book of stones, detailing their properties, histories, and celestial affinities. But one edition was said to contain additional chapters, describing stones that glowed, hummed, or wept when touched. That version disappeared sometime after the 13th century. Some say it lies in a private library in Central Asia. Others believe it was buried with a scholar. No one has seen it since. Imagine reading a passage about a stone that bends time, or a crystal that sings under moonlight. Is it fantasy, or just knowledge we've forgotten how to feel? Tonight, let that possibility sparkle beside your pillow. Dear listeners, take a lantern and descend into Anatolian dusk. In the ruins of Hattusa, the ancient Hittite capital, legends speak of a silver tablet, a treaty between empires, etched in gleaming script. It documented peace, bound gods, promised eternity, but it vanished. Some believe it was looted. Others think it still lies buried beneath an unexcavated chamber, untouched by tools or breath. The existence of the treaty is known from later references, but the tablet itself never found. Picture a slab of silver, still cold after 3,000 years, still shining, still speaking, not of war, but of stillness. Maybe that's why it was hidden. Hey friends, step softly through silk screens and shadows. Ban Zhao, the first female historian of China, lived during the Han Dynasty. Her writings were preserved, but her paintings gone. She was said to paint the cosmos in miniature, stars and virtues circling like court dancers. Her brush moved like wind through reeds. No painting has ever been attributed to her with certainty. Were they burned during palace revolts, or buried in sealed scroll tubes forgotten in attic eaves? Imagine unrolling silk and seeing the universe arranged in elegant brush strokes. Maybe her stars still glow somewhere, folded in quiet, waiting for gentle eyes. You are now among the ruins of an empire, dust lifting from carved lions and cuneiform tablets. Nineveh, capital of the Assyrian Empire, once housed rings of power worn by kings and priests, each engraved with the sigils of gods. Many were stolen, scattered, or melted, but one set, 9 golden rings, was described in old texts as being hidden beneath the city before its fall. No one has found them. Imagine lifting a ring from beneath brick and soot. It fits your finger. It hums. Not cursed, not magical, just remembering. And maybe that's the most powerful thing of all. Dear listeners, return with me to Alexandria, just before the fire, just before the silence. Hypatia, the brilliant philosopher, was known not only for her math, but her craftsmanship. She is said to have built an astrolabe, unlike any other, a device that predicted tides, eclipses, and planetary moods. It was lost after her death. No fragments remain, just accounts, descriptions, reverent wonder. Could it lie in the ruins beneath the sea? Or was it carried east, wrapped in linen and story? Imagine turning its dials, listening as it gently ticks the language of stars. Knowledge can be destroyed, but it also waits, in dreams, in dust, in you. Hey friends, feel the night air over the steppe, where fire flickers and hooves drum the horizon. One Mongol queen, possibly a wife of Genghis Khan, was said to wear a crown made from meteorite iron, shaped like flame, rimmed in turquoise. It glowed faintly in moonlight. When she died, the crown was buried with her in an unmarked tomb. Some say it lies beneath the grasslands, others beneath an extinct volcano. No grave has been found, but nomads still speak of a star that fell for her, and a crown that rose from it. Tonight, if you glance at the stars, let one shimmer for her. She may still be watching, crowned in cosmic fire. Hey friends, let your thoughts settle over the Sahara. Soft dunes, slow winds, ancient breath. Pharaoh Jedefre, son of Khufu, built his pyramid far from Giza at Abu Rawash. But unlike the majestic symmetry of the others, his vanished. Was it destroyed, unfinished, or deliberately erased? Archaeologists debate. Stones were taken, foundations stripped, history blurred. But some believe a deeper chamber still lies beneath the rubble, sealed, undisturbed. Imagine brushing away sand and finding a doorway beneath the earth. A throne room. A single golden falcon, eyes watching from eternity. Sometimes loss is only a layer of waiting, and Jedefre's legacy may yet rise from the ground once more. Dear listeners, step into moonlit silence beneath the olive trees. The Bible tells of David, poet, shepherd, king, soothing spirits and storms with a harp. His music calmed Saul, charmed hearts, and echoed through generations. But the harp itself? Gone. No strand remains, no string, just stories. Some believe it was hidden in a temple during the Babylonian exile. Others say it crumbled with the ark's silence. Still, its sound lingers in psalms, in lullabies, in every gentle note played under stars. Imagine finding an ancient harp, fragile but whole, its wood smooth from sacred touch. Would you dare to strum it? Maybe the note it plays is silence, and maybe that's all it ever needed to be. Hey friends, we now drift into Baghdad's golden age, under domes of deep blue and golden ink. The Abbasid scholars once tracked falling stars, not just their paths, but their meaning. One map, whispered of in journals, charted every meteor that had struck the earth, and where each stone was hidden. It's been lost for centuries. Some say it was destroyed when the Tigris ran black with ink. Others claim it was split and scattered between scrolls. Imagine a constellation on parchment, dots connected by knowledge and belief. You hold it, and suddenly the heavens make sense. Perhaps the stars remember it still, and are waiting to fall again. You are now seated at a wooden desk, where candlelight flickers across mechanical sketches and half-finished poems. Leonardo da Vinci left behind notebooks, thousands of pages filled with flying machines, anatomy, riddles, and reversed writing. But one manuscript is missing. It was said to contain his final thoughts, his dreams for the future, a design that couldn't be built yet. Some say it vanished in France. Others believe it lies hidden in a Florentine drawer. Imagine opening a dusty folio and seeing his handwriting, just as steady, just as strange. A map of wonder, a whisper from genius. Maybe it was never lost. Maybe it was waiting for someone who would understand. Hey, friends, dim the lights and gaze into the prehistoric sky. Before Stonehenge, deep in the Nubian desert, people erected stones to mark solstices and stars. Among them was said to be a circular disk, marked with star paths and seasonal rhythms, crafted from stone, bone, or copper. No record of it exists now. Some think it was buried. Others say it crumbled beneath desert storms, but the arrangement of the site still echoes its shape, still follows the sky. Imagine kneeling in the sand and discovering a flat circle, its markings faint but precise. A prehistoric horoscope. No words, just alignment. And perhaps that's the language stars always spoke. Dear listeners, now we enter the sacred hush of early Medina. It is said that the Prophet Muhammad's cloak, a simple garment of wool, was passed to his followers, and then disappeared. Some believe it lies in a hidden chest. Others say it's been worn by saints, passed hand to hand in devotion. No museums, no labels, just faith wrapped in fabric. Imagine holding it gently, unsure if it's cloth or history in your fingers. Some treasures aren't golden. They're threads of memory, and they carry warmth beyond measure. Hey friends, let's descend into ancient China again, where diviners spoke to fire and bone. Shang kings once used turtle shells and ox scapulae to predict the future. Many have been found. But one king's set, rumored to contain predictions of disaster, eclipse, and rebirth, has never been seen. It was recorded in court registers, then vanished in rebellion. Some believe it was buried with him. Others think it was burned, its messages lifted to the sky. Imagine touching a cracked bone, the char lines still fresh after 3,000 years. A question, an answer, a pause. Maybe we never stopped asking. You are now inside a hidden temple where the ibis god listens in silence. The Book of Thoth, a legendary Egyptian text, was said to grant the reader understanding of earth, sky, and speech of all beings. It appears in stories as a dangerous thing, a sacred thing, a forbidden scroll. Many copies were made, none remain. Some believe the true version was buried with a prince beneath a trap-laden tomb. Others say it was taken west, changed into another form. But its idea lives on. Imagine unrolling a papyrus and finding words that feel familiar, because maybe you've read them before, and just not in ink. Hey friends, walk slowly now into myth and mosaic. Beneath the Minoan palace of Knossos was said to be a labyrinth, not just a mythic prison, but a treasury. Gold double axes, crystal figurines, ritual horns, lost when the palace collapsed. Some archaeologists believe undiscovered chambers remain below. Could the labyrinth be real or symbolic? Still, the ground speaks in clues, uneven flagstones, sealed corridors, echoes that don't come back. Imagine opening a passage and finding walls carved with spirals. A room lined in obsidian. Sometimes a maze isn't made to trap, but to teach, and you're already walking it. Dear listeners, for our final whisper tonight, let's step softly into the Garden of Dreams. A Taoist scroll, once kept in the Jade Palace of the Song Dynasty, was said to describe the celestial gardens, places where spirits dwell in peace. It painted mountains that float, flowers that sing, rivers of light. The scroll was last recorded in 1116. Since then, nothing. Some say it was taken during war. Others believe it dissolved into mist with the palace itself. But if you find it, legend says, you'll see not a painting, but a path. One that leads home. Tonight, let your breath become soft. You may already be walking there. Hey friends, if this journey through whispers and wonder is helping you sleep and dream, don't forget to subscribe. There are still more treasures to uncover. Hey friends, come close. The steam is rising from the earth and something old is whispering from beneath. The Oracle of Delphi once sat above a sacred chasm, speaking prophecy through mist and breath. But beneath her tripod, legend says, was a black stone, smooth, warm, and humming. Some believed it was the Omphalos, the navel of the world. Others claimed it was a fallen star. After centuries of reverence, it vanished. Was it hidden during the Roman conquest, stolen during war, or buried deep by those who feared its voice? Imagine brushing aside ash and roots and feeling a stone warm to your touch, as if it remembers being listened to. Prophecies don't disappear. They simply wait for the right silence. Dear listeners, take a breath of spring wind, sweet with reed and river. In Greek myth, the god Pan crafted a flute from reeds that once were a nymph. It played haunting melodies, wild, echoing, soft. Some say a real Pan flute was carved in his honor and hidden in Arcadia. Its sound could stir emotion in trees and deer alike. A few ancient instruments survive, but the one? Still unfound. Perhaps it's lodged in a cave wall, or buried in moss beneath a ruined temple. Imagine hearing a tune on the wind. Gentle, ancient, untraceable. That might be him, still playing, still wandering. Hey friends, now let's drift to the Baltic shore, where runes once kissed stone and sea. A carved stone, said to have been raised by sailors of an unknown tribe, recorded the vanishing of a sea. A legend, or a memory of climate and change. It was glimpsed once in the 17th century by a Swedish scholar. Then, never again. Did it erode? Or was it pulled back into the tide it warned about? Some say it marked not just place, but time. Imagine a stone that once stood tall, recording the ocean's sigh. And maybe, somewhere, another sea is listening now. Dear listeners, step gently into rain-drenched jungle, where vines cradle forgotten shrines. Among the many treasures looted and lost during the colonial scramble for Africa, one story glows brighter than most: the golden skull of a tribal king. Adorned with carved glyphs and encrusted with red stones, it was said to have been passed through generations until it vanished during transport in the 1890s. Some say it lies hidden beneath River Silt. Others think it was melted quietly. But in village chants and stories told by firelight, the skull still gleams. Imagine uncovering it, not as a relic, but as a return. Some things are never gone. They're simply waiting for the right hand. Hey friends, dim the room just a little more. On Japan's smallest main island, tales whisper of a mirror kept in a mountaintop temple. A mirror that didn't reflect faces, but emotions. Known as the heart mirror, it was stolen during the 14th century and never recovered. Locals say it shows your truest self, not your skin, not your smile, but your shadow and light. Some believe it was hidden in a priest's tomb. Others say it sank in a storm, its truth swallowed by waves. But wouldn't it be beautiful to see yourself, not as you appear, but as you are? Maybe the mirror still exists. Or maybe you are the mirror now. You are now among stepped pyramids and obsidian-eyed statues, where ancient breath still lingers in volcanic stone. Teotihuacan, the mysterious city in the Mexican highlands, left behind beautiful masks carved from jade and pyrite. But one mask, mentioned in Spanish records, was said to be different. It had no eyes. It was worn by the last priest before the city was abandoned, symbolizing silence, endings, letting go. And it was never found. Could it be beneath the pyramid of the moon? Or crushed, turned into dust, like the end of a prayer? Imagine finding it. No eyes, just stillness. Some endings don't need vision, only peace. Hey friends, now we enter the quiet corridors of modern myth. There's a rumor, half whispered, half denied, that a handwritten codebook exists, used by royal couriers during World War II. It was said to be kept beneath Windsor Castle. A list of emergency plans, escape routes, sacred heirlooms to save. But after the war, it vanished. Some believe it was destroyed to preserve secrecy. Others think it's tucked inside a hollow book, waiting. Imagine leafing through a dusty volume and finding instructions written in looping royal ink. A treasure not of gold, but preparation. Love, legacy. Maybe it's already been used. Maybe that's why we're here. Dear listeners, take one last journey to the edge of the sky. In ancient Siberian legend, a comet once struck the earth and left behind a shard. Metal not of this world. It was forged into a spear by a shaman. Passed from hand to hand, it was said to hum when storms approached. Then, gone. The Tunguska explosion in 1908 reignited the tale. Some say the spear was returned to the crater. Others believe it melted into earth and sky. But imagine it exists still. Cool, silver, slightly curved. A sliver of the cosmos, shaped into story. Maybe stars fall not to destroy, but to be remembered. Hey friends, close your eyes for this one. Legends of Atlantis tell not only of cities, but of crystals. Large, clear, humming with energy. One such crystal, said to have powered temples and meditation chambers, was believed to rest beneath the ocean near Bimini. Diver stories surface now and then, of strange sensations, flickers of light beneath coral. Nothing confirmed, but what if the crystal is still down there, whole, intact, gently humming? Tonight, if your dream begins with glowing water, you may already be closer than you think. Dear listeners, we end with a whisper and a question. There's a final legend, a book, no title, no ink. It's said to exist in only one copy, and it writes itself in the hand of the one who opens it. Whatever you most need to read appears. It's not in a museum. No one's seen it. But perhaps that's the point. Some treasures aren't buried in earth, or sealed in stone, or guarded by kings. Some are waiting in your dreams, on your breath, at the edge of sleep. So close your eyes. Maybe the next page begins with you. Thank you, dear listener. You've journeyed through centuries, stories, and stillness. If you loved this series, don't forget to subscribe, so we can meet again, where mystery never ends, and sleep always welcomes you home.